If you've got game day coming up, if you've got the Super Bowl coming up, if you've got a party coming up, I'm going to show you how to make smoked tri-tip sliders. All right, I've done tri-tip more than anything else on my channel. I've done it in the big smoker, the small smoker, the electric smoker. I've direct grilled, I've done it on the gas grill. I've done it in a crock pot. I've done it just about every way I can. Today I'm actually doing it slightly different using the Kettle Zone System out on the Weber Kettle. First thing I've got to do is I've got to get the rub ready. Simple rub. We're starting with a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of granulated garlic. We're adding a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder, just pick your favorite chili powder, and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Gonna mix this up, get a little taste here. Really nice, salty and sweet, that's what I want. So what I have here is about a 2.5 pound tri-tip that I've trimmed up pretty aggressively. I wanted to get most of that excess fat around the outside off because these are going to be in sliders. I don't want people biting through fat. So we're going to go ahead and start getting our rub on here. That's good. We're not going to let this sit. We're going to get it straight out to the Weber Kettle. All right, the temperature on the kettle is at 345, which is much higher than I would normally do a tri-tip, but I'm using that Kettle Zone system, so I'm curious to see how this works. All right, so you can see I have the Kettle Zone set up with 1 deflector plate in, charcoal sort of split between the direct side and the indirect side. So let's get this tri-tip on. Get my temperature probe in here. All right, so I'm gonna put some cherry wood in here for a little bit of smoke today. Very bright out here today. All right, our cherry wood is catching. Let's go ahead and get our lid on and let this tri-tip start smoking. Well, I'm curious to see how it's going to do with the Kettle Zone system here. I've never used this before in this way. I've used it with both deflector plates in for a full indirect zone, but this way, if I want to give it a sear the way I normally do at 110 degrees internal, then I can. And I'll be taking it to probably ultimately about 130 to 133 degrees internal. Kettle temp, I'm going to try and keep around 300. We'll see. Come back when we're getting close to 110. All right, the kettle temp's at 312. It's been holding between 300 and 320 the whole time with that Kettle Zone in there. The tri-tip's at 106 internal. Usually I sear it at 110, but I want to have a look at it now, and it might be time to sear it now. So let's see. Now with that deflector plate radiating heat, I'm curious to see what the underside's going to look like. It probably already has some sear on it, a little bit. So I'm actually going to go ahead and sear this right now. So let me get my probe out. And we've got our piece of cherry. It's igniting a little bit. We're going to give this just a minute here and then we'll flip it over. Just need a little bit of a sear, not much. Just gives it a little bit of color. All right, we're going to go ahead and move this back in direct. Get our temperature probe back in there. Looks pretty good, it's showing 106. I think I pulled it and seared it at 107 or so it didn't get to the exact same spot, but that's fine. We're going to get the lid back on and take it to 130. See you when we hit 130. All right, our internal temperature is 129. It's going to hit 130 by the time I get the lid off and start checking it with the instant read, so let's go ahead and do that. Looking really good. Let's just do a quick check with the instant read. It's showing 125 right here. I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. Let's see how we're doing. Give this another check here. 130.3. So we're good. Gonna get this inside, wrap it in some foil for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna make our tri-tip sliders. All right, while our tri-tip is resting so we can slice it, I'm gonna make some horseradish aioli for these sliders. We've got 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise we're starting with. To this, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of prepared horseradish, and fling a little on your cutting board too, and 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. And we're gonna mix this up. Give it a little taste. That's zingy. I like that. Now we have other things that we're going to have available to put on these sliders. Two of my favorites are some brown sugar bacon that we fried up just a while ago, and we have some red onions which were caramelized in some bacon fat with a little bit of whiskey added. So those are going to be a nice addition to this. We're also going to have some barbecue sauce, some pepperoncinis, and some pickles. It's going to be some nice little sliders. So while we're waiting for our tri-tip to rest just a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and we're going to toast up our slider buns, and we're going to toast them in the same pan that we fried the bacon in and caramelized the onions in. All right, so here's our pan that we fried up that bacon and caramelized the onions. Got nice little bits of everything in there, so we're going to heat it up to toast these buns. All right, so we're just going to start toasting. I'm going to do the tops of 3 slider buns. All right, so our tops are done. Let's get our bottoms in here. All right, I think we are good. All right, here is our smoked tri-tip. Really good color on it. I'm very impressed using that Kettle Zone system so far. I've never done a tri-tip using that, and I'm pleased with the way this came out on the outside. We still got to see the inside. Grain is running this way and it twists a little bit. Tri-tip, the grain can be twisty, so I'm going to go here but at a little bit of an angle so we get some good cuts across the grain. So I'm going to start right in the middle here. There we go. Perfect medium rare, that's what we want. I'm going to work with this side of the tri-tip here to slice the pieces for our sliders. So I'm going to set this side over here. So I'm just going to go ahead here and make some slices. These slices will also be cut in half so that they'll fit better in the slider buns. Set this end piece aside. These are the pieces we're going to use for our sliders, and I'm just going to go straight down the middle here. Cut these in half. Turn these around so you can see. We are ready to build some sliders. All right, here are our buns. We're going to start building 3 different tri-tip sliders here with an array of condiments and everything that we have ready. I'm just going to start here. Now you can pile as much as you want on these. I'm going to put like 2 pieces on each one. I think that's a good amount. This already looks good. You could eat them just like this if you don't want anything else on them, but I want some more on these. So on one of these, the first thing I'm going to put are some of these caramelized onions that were caramelized in that bacon fat and with some whiskey. These are red onions, which you can tell, I think, from it being so dark, but just look at that. Now on another one, I'm going to put some of this brown sugar bacon that's been cooked to AFS, acceptable floppy state. On another one, I'm going to put a peppercini to start because I love pepperoncinis. I'm also going to put a little bit of avocado on this bacon one. And with the peppercini, I'm going to put some red peppers. These are marinated red peppers. With the onions, I'm going to put some of this horseradish aioli. And I could spread some on the top of the buns if I wanted to. For this bacon one, I'm going to put actually a little bit of barbecue sauce on that top bun. And you know what? Our almost veggie smoked tri-tip slider over here with the pepperoncinis and the peppers, I'm going to put a pickle on top of that because let's try and make it more vegetarian with the tri-tip. There we go. I could add more combinations of things, but I want to get a little bit of everything on these 3 for a taste. And as I always say, it's time to taste. All right, here we go. The first one I'm going to try is the vegetarian tri-tip slider with the pepperoncini, the peppers, and the pickle. Here we go. That's really good. Nice pop from those pepperoncinis in there, but man, that tri-tip is tender. Let's look at that. That is good. All right, onto the slider with the bacon, the avocado, and the barbecue sauce. Here we go. The tri-tip has that nice brown sugar in the rub, and that brown sugar bacon takes it to the next level with like a brown sugar explosion. The avocado is nice, very refreshing, and the barbecue sauce is a balsamic barbecue sauce. Really good with this, a little bit of tang. That barbecue sauce is a nice contrast to the sweetness of the tri-tip and that bacon. And now this is the one I've been waiting for. The smoked tri-tip slider with the caramelized onions and that horseradish aioli. So here we go. Whoa, that is like a punch of flavor. Man, holy moly. Onions and horseradish really work well with this. Again, it's a nice contrast to the sweetness that's on the outside of the tri-tip. Oh. A little bit decadent maybe with those onions that were caramelized in bacon fat and some Jack Daniel's whiskey. I don't care though. Of the three of those, I wouldn't turn any of them down, but I would have to pick the one with those caramelized onions. Man, that and that horseradish aioli send it to the next level. So if you're wanting to make sliders for game day, for the Super Bowl, for a party, try making them from tri-tip. You will not be disappointed. You will have happy eaters at your home. Oh.